Great. So we are finally coming to the end of our tools panel tour, right? And we're finally coming to the end of that. So in this video, I'm going to talk about one very, very important tool also in Photoshop. In fact, I wonder why Photoshop left this tool to the bottom. I think it should be somewhere even higher up in the scale, and that is the tools, the text tool, right? That's the text tool. Okay. Now, the text tool is directly under your pen tool, right? You just click on it. There's horizontal type tool, there is vertical type tool, vertical horizontal type marks tool, and vertical type marks tool. So it's called the type tool or the text tool, right? So let's click on the horizontal text type tool. So by default, what you click on, what we use to type is horizontal because we all type on a straight line, on a straight horizontal line, right? So the text tool, once you click on the text tool, your cursor changes to something like a T, right? Something like an I in a box. So when we click on it, we start typing. Immediately you click on it, you just start typing. Let's type in the boy. The boy is good, right? So you type this, the boy is good. And then when you come directly under it, you can move the text around without having to click on your move tool, right? Without having to click on your move tool, the moment you come down here, right below the text, to right below the line of the text, you could move it around. Okay. Now note that when you start typing, automatically Photoshop creates a text layer. Automatically Photoshop creates a text layer for it. So now we are done typing. What do? You could click on either your move tool or just click on the text layer. Okay. Click on the text layer. Here's what you have. Okay, the boy is good. So we can see that the T from the D and the O and D of the good, they are not in this box, and that's because our text size we used here is 150 points. Okay, now remember I told you every tool has its own property menu or has its own property bar or options bar, whichever you like. Now for the text tool, this is the options bar for the text tool. Okay, the first box you see here, that is this one on my own screen, is showing Century Gothic Bold. It could be maybe Myrad or Calibri for your own phone, but for your own device. But for mine is showing Century Gothic Bold. This is your type, this is your font face, right? Your font, this is your font, but this is where you select the particular kind of font you want to use. Right, so as you see, as I'm hovering over each one, it's changing. It's changing. Okay, as you can also click, you can see more and more fonts, more and more fonts. Okay, more and more fonts. Okay, so I'll also show you how to get in more fonts that are not defaultly in Photoshop. I'll also show you how to import that. Okay, how to get download fonts and install them into your Photoshop. Like there are some fonts I also installed here. Let me show you some of them. I have one back to black demo, right? Okay, but this works best when this shows best when it's on small letters. But I tap this in caps. Let me show you another font also that I installed. There's okay, take a look at this. There's also another font. Let me show you. Dark Monday regular, you could see, right? So several fonts that are not defaulting your Photoshop, you can also install them, right? So for the purpose of this, let me just take it back to where we started from. That is Century Gothic, right? Let me take this back to Century Gothic. Let's just type in Century Gothic regular. Okay, good. Now where you have here, this is your font style. Okay, it could be regular, italic, bold, bold, italic. Some fonts usually have more. Like some fonts here, you may see thin, light, extra thin. An example of that font is what you call, I have a font known as Eleron. Eleron, you can see the Eleron font has thin, ultra thin, thin, light, regular, italic, heavy, black, italic, and each of them are different font styles. So the font styles you see here, they are particular, or they are peculiar to the font face. So some of them you just see is only regular you see, right? While others have like a whole lot of what they call this, the whole lot of font styles now. Okay, right after the font styles, you have your font size. This box you see here is your font size box. You could click on this drop down to reduce it to say 48. Now you can see the whole text we initially typed, and your text makes use of your foreground color defaultly. Right, so then you see we change this to 60 pixels, 60 points rather. You see, there's the text size. You can also put in your defaults. You can also put in a particular point. Say you want 65, you put in 65. Okay, good. That's for your font size. Okay, for the sharp, usually I always leave it on sharp. Just leave it on sharp. Then this is your what you call your align, your text align, as you are familiar with already in Microsoft Word. This is your left align. So align left. This center align. This is right align. Although the way it works in Photoshop, this the aligns don't exactly work the way you expect them to work. Like for instance, I click on my left align, and then you can see it's moved my page, my text to the right. Okay, but then if I had typed in this on different paragraphs, for instance, if I had typed in more words, you can see that everything is actually aligned left. Okay, you could see it's actually aligned left. If I put it, if I okay, sorry. So let me click on the text layer. If I put it, if I centralize it, you can see the text is centralized. The text is aligned right. So the same way, right? Now this is aligned left. Good. Then also this is your text color. You could select any color you want to select here, right? By default, it will take your foreground color. But then the text color, you could also change it, right? Change it independently of your foreground color, right? Then the next thing you see here is your text wrap. You see, text wrap is like when you want to create a curved text, like, sometimes you see text that span this way. They are not on a straight horizontal line, they span like this, right? So if I click on that text wrap, you'd see, so the style here is none, wrap text. So let's change this to arc. You can see what your text looks like. Let's change it to wave. You could see what your text looks like. You can also increase, distort it some more, increase it some more, right? So fish, vertical. So basically that's your text wrap. Okay, it more or less wraps the text. Okay, so for 3D, I don't want us to go into anything 3D for now, but what it does is it just makes your text into 3D. Okay, so that's that about the text tool. That's that about your text tool. Okay, then also there's something I also want you to understand in your text tool. You see, your text tool has a property menu as it shows here. Okay, but then there is also a character panel where you can make more adjustments. And how do you bring up that panel? This is the icon for the panel, right? You click on it, right? If it's not here, you go into window, go right down to character and click. Okay, so when you click character, you can change your font size here, your font style here, your font face here, your font size here. Then this, you could change the spacing between the vertical spacing between the words. So this is on auto. If I change it to 24, look at what 24 looks like. If I change it to 72, look at what 72 looks like. That's the vertical spacing. So I leave it on auto. This VA you see here is to change the horizontal spacing between text. So if I change it to 200, you could see the horizontal spacing between each letter changes. Okay, good. Now this C you see here that is on 100%. This T you see here on 100%. What it does is it changes the vertical scale. So more or less like the vertical height of your text. You see, it's increasing the vertical height of your text. Good. Okay, then this you have here, right? What it does is that it more or less creates like a baseline shift, right? So let's see, you see, increasing it, you see what it does. Reducing it, more or less like creates like what we call a baseline shift. Okay, good. Then you also have your text color here. you have your text color. Okay, your text, sorry, this over here, right, is very similar to your vertical scale. This is your horizontal scale. It makes your text, your letters wider. Okay, you could see the opposite of it is the vertical scale that makes them taller. Okay, good. Now this is color. You could change the colors like we've already spoken about. Okay, you could change the colors, right? Then each of these T's here signifies something. Okay, this, you see, when you hover over it, it would show you, it will give out what it does, right? So this is bold. You click on it, your text gets bold. This is italicized. Click on it, it gets italicized. This is capitalized, right? So for instance, let's assume we're written this text in small letters. The boy is good, right? The moment we click on capitalize, it changes it all to capital letters. Okay, change all to capital letters, and this is what small caps. So if you are written in capital letters and you click on it, it changes back to small letters. Okay, small caps, that means each sentence starts with a caps. Okay, then this is a superscript here. Superscript, when you say something raised to power something, that's a superscript. That's what it does. So if I put 2 here and I highlight it and make it a superscript, you see the 2 goes up. That's a superscript, while below it here is a subscript. Okay, that's like for chemical, this is a H2. So subscript, you see that brings it down. Then this T here is to underline your text, to underline. So as it is now, it's not underlined. I change to my move tool, or I click on the text, right? Then you click underline, it underlines it, right? This is what you call your single strike through. It strikes through, puts a stroke through your text. Okay, puts a stroke through your text. Okay, so basically that's what you roughly need for your text too. Also, under paragraph here, under your character panel, paragraph here has all your alignments: justify, centralize, left align, right align. This is under paragraph. So that's all you need to know about your character styles. You're going to need them a lot because you're going to be working with text a lot. You're going to be working with text a lot. Now, also remember we clicked on the horizontal type 2. You also have your vertical type 2. Your vertical type 2 writes, takes all your words in a vertical position. So I want to write the boy is good with my vertical type 2. I write the boy is good. So this is how your vertical type 2 types. The boy is good. Okay, good. So every other thing remains the same. Okay, every other thing remains the same. Notice that your align here has changed just so that to suit the two. You see, this is now aligning according to the artboard. Okay, now we'll click on this, then horizontal type marks tool. Now let me show you how horizontal type marks tool work, and I would like to delete these other 2 texts and what you can use it for. Now, horizontal type marks tool, what it does is it allows you type just as you would normally type on your using your horizontal text, but this time around you don't create a real text, you create a selection. Okay, you create a selection. So let's type with our horizontal text tool. So horizontal text tool, let's type with our horizontal text tool. Let's write the boy is good, right? You see, that background is not pink. It's just to show you that it's in max mode. Max mode is more or less like a selection mode, right? So let's type the boy is good. The boy is good. So now we're done typing. Let's just click on the background layer to see, or just move to click. You see, it changes it to what? It changes it to a selection. Okay, it changes it to a selection. Now there's also one thing I want you to note about the horizontal marks tool. The horizontal marks tool does not create a layer on its own, a new text layer, and that's because it is not an actual text. It's just a selection. Okay, it's just a selection, it's not an actual text. so it doesn't create a new layer on its own. It works with your current layer. So since this is a selection, if I decide to cut with my Control plus X, you could see it has cut it. It has cut out that text, right? Good. So it is not a selection. It's not an actual text. It's just a selection. Now there's also something you can do, and that is that when you create your and there's also one thing you should note about your horizontal text too. What you should note about it is you set your presets first before you type. You can't after typing with your horizontal marks too, you can't then go around and say, oh, you want to change the font. No. Okay, you have to set all of that even before you type. So here, let's change this to this particular font. Okay, is a Intensuela regular, right? Then we'll make it say, let's make it 72, right? Let's come over here, let's increase the spacing to 50. Then let's type, okay, click, and let's type man. Good. Let's type man. If I try to change, you see this italicized. If I try to change it from being italicized, you see it doesn't work. If I try to change the new caps or check, nothing works, right? So this is how your horizontal marks tool works. So where can you apply your horizontal marks tool? Now let me show you a very quick example, and I want you to open this image known as um this image known as a model, the model image on your design resources. Let's open the model image with Photoshop. Okay, let's open the model image. Good, now it's open. So let's duplicate that background layer. We've duplicated it, right? Now I want us to create a new layer. Good, good. Now I want you to paint this new layer. This new layer, give it a, let's make it red. Oh no, let's make it brown. Let's make it a brown color. Let's make it a brown color. Okay, let's see, with blue go. Okay, let's make it a blue color instead so it pops. So now I'm making this a blue color, right? Good. So that background layer, the layer is just going to be in between the background layer and the duplicates. Okay, that background layer is going to be in between. Just watch as this arrangement is over here. Good. So now let's use our horizontal marks tool to type, and I want us to make it 150. So text size now is 150. So we're going to type in the word model. Good. Type in the word model. Let's move it somewhere here. Okay. Let's move it somewhere here. Good. So I want to type in the word model. Good. So you see that has made a selection. Okay, that has made a selection already. Now if I decide to cut out that text, let's use Control X. Can you see what happened? Now let me actually show you what just happened here. What happened is I cut out the model from this picture. That means what you're seeing here is just the background of this layer. Now let me show you how that works. You can see the moment I move around, okay, or let me turn off this background layer, this blue layer here, so you see it better. Can you see that it's been cut off? The model shape has been cut off this layer, so you could decide to put anything there behind it. Okay, you could decide to put anything there behind it. Also, another way you could decide to think of this is if I invert this selection, just watch as I invert the selection. Invert to select, right? What else do you do? Can you remember? Invert selection, then cut, right? Good. Now let me turn on that background layer, the blue layer. I turn on the blue, turn on my other layer. Can you see that? I'm sure you've seen things like this before. I'm sure you've seen things like this. This is how your marks horizontal mask text tool works. Okay, it just cuts out, it makes a selection of a text. There are other ways to do it when you type in your normal text, but then this is how your horizontal text tool works. Also, the same goes for the vertical text tool. Okay, just that the vertical types in a vertical direction. Okay, you can see the vertical just types in the vertical direction. Every other thing remains the same. So that's that about your text tool. Also, another tool we want to look at here is your path selection tool and your direct selection tool. Then we'll do that in the next video.